Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Janie Lee Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi, welcome to the podcast. If you're in Christmas frenzy, I hope you can take a few moments to just breathe, breathe and recognize that, it's all going to be okay. Have another listen to our webinar on bossing a sober Christmas. There's so many tips there to literally bring down anxiety, because God, I don't know about you, but I can feel it ramping up kind of everywhere you look. It just feels as though people are in this frenzy around Christmas. It's so unhelpful. So try and take down that frenziness, if that's a word. We had a really good webinar last week on explore a career as a sober coach, or from sobriety to purpose. Got a couple of names for it, but it's just lovely meeting online people who are passionate about sobriety. It's a fabulous thing. It really is just amazing to be able to connect with people who are thinking about their purpose, what they're going to do now they've quit the booze, and just hearing stories of how people's lives have changed. I think that's one of the most exciting things. I asked at one point on the webinar, I asked people what they identified that alcohol had stolen from them. It's not a question that I think of often, but it's some really kind of profound answers, actually, when you start to look at what it took from you. Literally, what was the cost to you? And when you look back, you realize that some people said it cost them their, creativity, their peace of mind, their connection with themselves. That was a big one. And one woman said, connection to her children. And wow, I mean, that's something I can absolutely identify with. I'm sure most of you have heard me say that's my only regret, really, is not doing this sooner when my kids were younger. I won't get those years back, really. So it's quite, it's a sobering thought when you realize what it's cost you. But just how amazing to be free from the alcohol trap. So if you're listening to this in your early days and you're still drinking, or maybe you've been sober for a little while, but you're not sure, you just gotta keep going. If it's your first Christmas sober, loads of great tips for you. Just drop me a message. I'll send you a link to the Bossing a Sober Christmas webinar. Just stay connected. I think that's one of the really key things. Stay connected in all of this. That's what really makes a difference, when you just hang on to that sense of there are other people who are in your camp, other people who can become your cheerleaders, right? So join us in the Sober Club. That's going to be such a massive support for you, whether you're early days or you've been sober for a while, because we focus on the everything, the well-being piece as well. It's thesoberclub.com. It's low cost. The prices are going to be rising next year. The monthly price is going to rise for new members early next year. So now is a fabulous time to get in. And we've got a lovely new free gift as well if you join us soon, all about finding your sobriety style, because I think one size doesn't always fit all. The way you kind of go about this doesn't always fit everyone. So hopefully that will be a useful little tool for you if you want to join us in the Sober Club. Also, I noticed in the week I wrote a blog post on it. There was a piece in the Telegraph newspaper about the harm that alcohol causes, that to people who are menopausal, to women who are going through the menopause. Just this raft of issues that come about because of alcohol. They were talking about the fact that our tolerance to alcohol becomes much less. There's so much more inflammation in the body. It's linked, obviously, not just to hangovers and anxiety, but all kinds of issues that during the menopause get so much worse. And I'm glad that they covered the topic in the Telegraph, but basically what they did is just sort of trot out the usual stuff around, have a glass of water in between each glass of wine. I mean, for God's sake, talk about stepping around the huge elephant in the room. Not at any point in the piece did it actually say, do you realize that you can quit alcohol? There is zero to lose, and I mean zero, and everything to gain. And not only that, for those people listening, those women listening who are menopausal, I mean, my God, it's the best anti-aging hack ever. I've had several one-to-one clients I've worked with who no longer need their HRT. I'm not saying that that's going to be the case for everyone. Of course, I'm not. But there are women who have found that once they've quit alcohol, their symptoms are just greatly reduced and they're perfectly okay. And they really don't need anything. And as you know, it drives me bonkers that women rock up to GPs and, oh, I've got mood swings or anxiety. I'm going through menopause. And then they walk away with a prescription for antidepressants. And or HRT, sometimes both. So yeah, it's a thing for sure. I wrote a post on it if that's an area that interests you. But again, within the Sober Club, we've got loads of exclusive content around the menopause and how you can work with great nutrition, great supplements to ease that transition. I've also got a new version of Happy, Healthy, Sober coming out, my book. That will be out early Jan. And there's some great contributions there from menopause doctors and nutritionists. So if that's of interest to you, then check it out. In the show today, this episode is brought to you by the Unconscious Moderation App. And they approached me and said, oh, we'd love to sponsor an episode of the podcast. But I figured, well, I'd love to know exactly what it's about. So rather than just doing a sort of ad for you, I thought I would chat to someone who's involved. So I'm going to be chatting to Laura, who is a psychologist, so really knows her stuff about how habits form. So it's really interesting to look at, what it is that makes us form a habit, if you like. So going to be chatting to Laura. And then after that, I'm going to have a chat with another Laura. You know her well. It's Laura Willoughby from Club Soda. We did our event there last week for the recording of the Alcohol Free Life podcast live with Andy Ramage. And it's a little chat that I did with Laura. Actually, it was recorded for one of my radio interviews, a very generic interview about the rise of popularity of alcohol-free drinks. But I figured, well, why not bring it to you guys as well? There's always something new we can learn. It's been interesting, actually, recently in Sober Club, somebody was asking a very specific question about alcohol-free drinks, and it comes up a lot. This whole question of the percentage, the ABV, and the 0.5%, which of course we know means trace alcohol. And I won't bore you with the whole mathematical equation, but safe to say, in the UK, the labelling can be a bit odd, but obviously if you opt for something that's 0.0, that's zero, that's clear. If it's 0.5%, it's a trace amount of alcohol. And they reckon that a ripe banana can be 0.4%. So you're getting, similar to the amount of alcohol, in inverted commas, that you get in a ripe banana. So in other words, none, really. So it's not something you have to worry about. You would have to drink literally liters and liters and liters and liters before you were able to add up to the same amount as the tiniest glass of wine, which clearly you're not going to do because it's not addictive. So you tend to find that you're good after a couple of drinks. So that's not something that you need to concern yourself about. You know that I do love recommending alcohol-free drinks because my belief is, keep the ritual, change the ingredients. It's really important to have a grown-up alcohol-free drink, particularly over this Christmas period when everyone is chinking a glass and expecting you to go to the pub or go to a party or whatever. And just always make sure you're prepped. So anyways, you'll hear more about that in my chat with Laura. And that will be followed by my chat with the other Laura. Really thrilled to be chatting to Laura Elorza. Did I say your name right? Let's kick off with that. Did I get your name right?
Yeah, you got my name right. Thank you so much for having me.
And you just have to check. Now, Laura is a chartered psychologist. I'm really looking forward to this chat, Laura, because there's so many of the things that you are trained in. And I love the whole idea of all of the unconscious patterns and all the things that go on in our unconscious mind. And specifically, you're here to talk about the Unconscious Moderation App, which we'll get onto in a moment. But just tell me a little bit about the work that you do generically, as a psychologist, when you're the kind of 101 of reminding people of how the unconscious mind works?
Of course. Yeah, I work one-on-one with people. Usually people come to talk to me because they have seen a pattern that they're conscious of now, but they really don't know how to change. And usually that pattern can be either, I don't know, using alcohol to suppress or not feel emotions or numb them down, or using social media as a way to distract themselves, and procrastinating that you see a lot nowadays. So yeah, they notice these patterns, but they really don't understand where they're coming from. And that's where the unconscious really has a big say in what we do, because about 95% of our behavior is unconscious habits and unconscious patterns. We tend to repeat the same day every single day because of those patterns. And being aware of those can change everything and can help people change their lifestyle from autopilot living to more of an agency, of a conscious agency over their life.
Yeah, yeah. It is incredible, isn't it, really? Well, we've all seen those diagrams that kind of look like an iceberg. And basically the whole of our unconscious mind is everything. And then right at the top, there's a little conscious bit. And I suppose that's why we behave the way we do. So something kind of triggers us, and we literally go back to all all the stuff that's driving it. I think of it a little bit like a computer, and you've got a few pages open, haven't you, on your screen? Probably way too many, but actually what's driving it is literally the hardware of the computer. So when you search for something, it literally goes to the stuff that's stored. And for so many of us, unless we can interrupt those patterns, we just end up doing the same things over and over again. I guess that's the theory, isn't it?
It is. It really is. And the analogy of the computer, I think it lands perfectly because, yeah, there's a software, there's a coding, and we always refer to that coding whenever we're acting or whenever we're in a new situation. We refer to what we know and what we have stored before. Usually it can be attachment styles, it could be trauma. And when I say trauma, I'm not talking about something very dark and heavy. Trauma really is the perception of a situation. It can be tough and it could be like a hard situation for you to process, but it could be any situation that you went through as a kid or as a young child that got coded into your brain. And such as like any app store really, that in any app, they have updates and bug updates. That's what we need to do in our lives. We need to recode and run the program again. And that's what we do. Like in 101 sessions, we are rewriting the program, understanding it, running, and then again, debugging and creating a new coding that works.
Yeah. When it comes to alcohol, do you think how important do you think it is that we have to go back and look at why we got started drinking, all of the reasons we drink? How important do you think it is to dig deep into all of that? Or do you think it's, for some people, it's a case of they've realized that alcohol is not serving them, and it really is a case of let's just change that habit?
So what I do believe and what I've seen in my consults, patient after patient, really, it's that usually alcohol is a way of numbing things or dealing with things. And it's a tool, right?
Yeah.
They started using it as a tool, and the tool is not serving them anymore. Alcohol has become that type of, it's legalized, but
exactly.
still it's not right. And it creates a long lasting effects in your body. And it's an easy tool for people to grab and to maybe numb or an anesthesia type of thing. But the thing with alcohol, it's that it can become very addictive very quickly. And because that feeling, that dopamine rush and that serotonin that we get when we drink, that those first few hours, it really feels good. Like it feels nice and it feels wonderful. And people say, oh, my social anxiety went away when I started drinking, or I don't have to deal with these emotions right now. I feel okay. I feel calm. But after the fact, that's where it all hits back and even stronger. And it all comes down from how you attached alcohol to your life, how you signify it, and how you see it, the perception of alcohol in your
All
life.
those associations, like, oh, it's winter time, I'll have to sit by the fire with a glass of red wine, or oh, it's summer, I'll have to sit with a glass, well, whatever.
A
It's
glass of
all those links,
sangria.
isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's very culturally engraved because if you see, like, we celebrate every time with a champagne toast or let's cheers for, I don't know, the happy couple
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whoever graduated, that a lot. And then you see also in the bad times, like people are like, oh, I had a rough day at work.
I need a drink. Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
open up a bottle of wine because I need to decompress. So it's associated with good moments and with tough moments in our life. And this is a cultural significance. And sometimes we don't question the cultural significance of alcohol and we start running with it. And that's what I call autopilot because we never stopped ourselves and understood, oh, what does alcohol mean in my life? Or how does it integrate in my life? Or does it really? Does it really integrate in my life? Or is it a habit that maybe it's not serving me anymore?
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about how the app works then. It's the idea that we can work on the unconscious mind rather than necessarily having to unpick every piece and try to use willpower, because we know that willpower doesn't work at all, does it?
It's rough because it all willpower really targets the conscious mind. And
Yeah.
what you were saying and referencing at the beginning, it is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
But there's a whole iceberg underneath that, and that's what we're trying to target in this specific app. So the app, it's really amazing because it actually works in a 90-day journey because different studies and different researchers have shown that habits are not built in 21 days. That is.
Yeah, everyone's been saying that for years, haven't they? It takes 21 days to break a habit, everyone says. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's discouraging because day 22 hits and you still have those cravings for alcohol and you're like, oh, I failed. What's wrong with me? I am a mistake. And that's not it. Habits take a longer time. And that's why unconscious moderation has a longer framework, which is 90 days, where you get three daily things that you start doing, which is first, you have a guided meditation or we call it hypnotherapy. And when I say hypnotherapy, a lot of people are like, oh, they're going to insert thoughts in my brain and they're going to make me do weird stuff like we see on shows when people get hypnotized, and not at all. What we think about when we talk about hypnotherapy, it's getting to that relaxed state of the brain waves are not activated, right? And it helps you understand, dig deeper, and it gives you prompts. So you can navigate your way through the unconscious mind. And it gives you prompts to understand your relationship with alcohol.
Yeah.
And when I say yours, it's because it's only you and the relationship with alcohol. We cannot like cookie cutter this situation. So understanding your relationship is what we think it's the most important thing to do. So this guided hypnotherapy sessions last around 15 to 20 minutes, and it's a moment to relax, to meditate, to enter in a state of calmness and awareness, and not being so in tune with the outside stimuli, but more on the inside stimuli. That's the first thing. Then the second thing, we give you a journaling prompt. The unconscious is wonderful. It's really wonderful because it doesn't actually talk in the language that we're speaking right now. It speaks in symbols. So, for example, when you write down, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed, it's the unconscious telling you, maybe you got to start understanding boundaries and setting boundaries with people so you don't feel overwhelmed. Or maybe, yes, it's time for you to rest and you've been resting a way that doesn't give you the energy that you need. So we give you a journaling prompt. So you get to write down. And if you write 2 sentences, that's okay. If you write down an essay, that's okay too, because at the end, it's sitting with your thoughts. And I do believe that your mind goes really fast. Your hand can't go as fast. So it helps you funnel all of that information into one place. And the information doesn't keep on running in your head. And then the last thing is movement. So we do believe that the first tool of communication and understanding that we had from day one was our bodies. We were so in tune with our bodies, and later language comes along and we kind of lose that touch with our bodies. So with movement, what we're trying to do is gain back the consciousness of our bodies and our internal signals that can tell us, I'm feeling great, or I'm not feeling so hot right now, we should rest, or maybe we shouldn't take that second glass of wine or the third glass of wine, because I'm in tune with my body and I know what my body needs at that moment. So those are the three main things that you have during this journey. And that's why we have the 90 days to build that habit. So you have the morning coffee, sit down and do this 30-minute thing, and you are completely in tune and aware of your body. So you can make those conscious choices.
Yeah, I love that. I love the things that are included. It fits beautifully with the stuff that we talk about here all the time, because I'm a very big fan of hypnotherapy and guided meditations and yoga nidra. And I think sometimes it's actually being able to meditate, in inverted commas, can be really difficult for people. I know certainly when you're drinking, it's practically impossible, because there's part of you saying, who are you to think you can sit down? And it's just awful. I used to just find myself going off writing shopping lists and God knows what. And I couldn't sit in meditation. Actually having some kind of guided hypnosis is brilliant for, as you say, bringing you back to balance. I absolutely love the fact that you include journaling. It's something I talk about all the time. And I got this phrase from Louise Hay, actually, used to say it, you can't clean the house till you can see the dirt. Actually, you've got to lay it out there. Just whatever the thoughts are, just lay it out. Don't have judgment and go back and edit or agonize over how it should look. Just dump it down. And there's such power in that, isn't there? So I love the idea of that. And the dropping into the body thing, the somatic piece, it's something that I talk about so often, because again, I think when people are feeling really stressed, really overwhelmed or anxious or whatever it might be, what we tend to try to do is go back into our head, don't we? We try to go back in our head and figure it out, or meditate a bit longer, or agonize over it, worry about it. And actually, if you let the body take it, over time, you learn to trust your intuition through your body. So I think you've got those elements are perfect for me. I think it's brilliant to include that. And I think you do, as time goes on, certainly if you quit alcohol and you no longer put in poison in, you feel much more able to trust your body. I always remember one guy I interviewed, he was a shaman, and he was saying that he was going through extreme anxiety and stress, and he realized that he couldn't meditate his way out of this one. He actually just needed to drop into the body and shake everything out. I think it's great that you got those aspects.
And it's more of a holistic thing.
Exactly.
Because
a holistic
you
approach.
don't have the mind without the body and the body without the mind. They're an interconnected thing. So understanding it as a whole creates a whole new dimension for people to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So just tell us where we can find info about the app.
So the app, you can definitely find information either in Google Play, you can download it, or Apple Store.
Okay, great. So it works for either whatever modality we've got.
Exactly. And we also have a lot of free information put out on a weekly basis. We have our YouTube channel, also Unconscious Moderation. You can find us where you'll see videos of happiness versus pleasure, how to kick off the autopilot of our lives, or we can talk about tips for better sleep and sleep recovery, of the hidden costs of alcohol, because actually alcohol has a lot of costs that we are not aware of. It
sure does.
And it's rough. And it's rough when you see them all at once in a video. You're like, wow, I didn't know that I was not only paying through like my alcohol consumption, because now alcohol is not cheap, but I'm also paying in my psyche, and I'm paying with my body, and I'm paying with my longevity. So maybe the cost benefit doesn't add up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you would definitely find that information there as well.
Great. I'll put the links in the show notes and direct people directly to it. Thank you so much, Laura. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful chatting with you.
Thank you. Would you like to become an accredited sober coach? Have you quit drinking and found yourself looking for a new purpose? Thousands of people are searching for help to quit and live their best life without the booze. Our Sober Coach training gives you the tools, the confidence, and the community to support others. No experience needed, except knowing what it feels like to have drunk more than you wanted to. We start with 2 transformational in-person days. Then you join our coaches family with ongoing support and webinars to help you use your skills in ways that suit you. If you're already a coach or a therapist, this could be an in-demand extra string to your bow, or a whole new career opportunity as a Sober Club accredited coach. For more info, visit thesoberclub.com and click on the Become a Sober Coach menu item. Now, Christmas is the time of year where you might be having your booze stashed. You might be feeling festive, but then again, you might also have decided to quit the booze or cut down and think about having the festive fizz without the hangover. I've got the perfect person to chat to us about the incredible rise in alcohol-free drinks and just how fabulous they are now. Laura Willoughby from Club Soda. How you doing?
I'm great, Jamie. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Lovely to chat to you, Laura. You were totally a huge part of my journey when I quit the booze. In fact, I was thinking about it the other day.
I remember.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I know. And I think the very first mindful drinking festival that I came to, that was something that you ran back in the day, I think it was 2018. And I remember kind of coming along to this mindful drinking festival and thinking, I cannot believe how massive this choice of alcohol-free drinks is. And of course, it's grown exponentially since then, hasn't it? It's incredible.
Yeah. In fact, the only alcohol-free drinks on the market started in 2017, which is when we did our very first festival. So you were still right at the early days there, Janie.
Definitely. Tell us a bit about your background then, Laura, because you've been doing this for a long time. You really are queen of this, and I know you've campaigned, you've really made your mark in this world. But just take us back to what got you to this place.
Yeah, well, I gave up drinking in 2012. I come from a family of big drinkers, and I was in a job I wasn't enjoying. I was beginning to bore myself and really feel that alcohol was taking away more than it was giving. And so I gave up. But I'm a campaigner by background. I've got a background in politics, and I was running a campaign called Move Your Money, which was to get people to switch to more ethical banking. And I thought at the time, why wasn't there things for people a bit more like me to change their drinking, where I don't need to go to one-to-one help. I don't want to go to AA. I wanted to do something that felt a little bit more community-led. And that's where Club Soda started. But very quickly, people started to moan about the lack of choice in pubs and bars. And I love a good knotty problem. And so we did a piece of research, which, even when I read it now, it still feels really relevant. It's called Nudging Pubs. And we looked at what it would take for pubs and bars to offer something more exciting to their non-drinking customers. And we identified that there was a lack of choice of drinks. It's not that pubs wouldn't stock it, it's that there wasn't anything for them to stock. So we started to campaign then. And, I never expected to become an expert in drinks, Jamie. Honestly, I go to events that old-fashioned drinking me would have thought were amazing, with tons of free booze at it.
Yeah.
But I go and talk about alcohol-free drinks. And so, more and more, I'm very confident that if we can change the way that we think about alcohol as a society and not see it as something that's compulsory to going out, and that there should be choice available, then less of us get into a pickle with booze.
Yeah.
And so what I'm doing is leaning more and more into, wanting your local pub, bar or restaurant to make sure they've got a good choice for you, so that you can still go out, but you don't need to drink alcohol.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know there will be people listening who are thinking, hold on a minute, I've tried alcohol-free beer or wine, and seriously, it's like vinegar. But that was the old days. Actually, it tastes, loads of the drinks are literally fantastic now, aren't they? In fact, aren't I right in thinking that some brands even kind of win taste tests when it's not even an alcohol-free category?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can tell that things are changing, consumer habits are changing, because people begin to invest money. Otherwise, Guinness wouldn't have a 0.0 out, and Heineken wouldn't have a 0.0 out. And so what you've now got is a real big shift. And so everyone will now say they think the beers taste good. And now we're getting to a point where there's some just exceptional wines on the market. You will have to shop around a little bit because they're not all widely available. You will have to look online or come into our tasting room in Covent Garden and try some. Definitely, you get what you pay for. So do look at some of the more expensive wines. But generally, it's a fast-moving market. And so what you taste this year will taste very different next year because the technology, the investment, and the taste is improving every single time.
Yeah, it really is. And we've definitely seen over the years a real rise in there's that expression, the sober curious, the people who are thinking, I wonder whether, my life would be all right without alcohol. And I think this is one of the things that makes the biggest difference, particularly at Christmas time. If I'm working as a coaching someone, I always say to them, it's not going to have a cup of tea, probably won't cut it when everyone around you is celebrating. So you do need to, keep that ritual, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's about a quality of experience and it's about feeling included. And of course, we drink during social occasions. So feeling included is a really important part of that, right? And so don't underestimate it. I think in every bottle of alcohol-free, it's social inclusion. And so you want to feel part of that. So, go into your local Majestic and look at the good alcohol-free range they've got there and find something nice and sparkling like SciShow to go into your glass at Christmas so that you have got something that's not just sparkly, but also tastes exceptional and feels special.
Yeah.
Because Christmas is a special time for sharing. And, you don't have to have a secondary experience if you're not drinking. And I think, Christmas is a great time to experiment on finding some of those drinks because a lot of them are on special offer. There's lots of Black Friday deals. And you can begin to have a little nosy around and see what it is that you like. Remember, you don't like all alcohol, so you might not like all alcohol-free drinks. That doesn't mean all alcohol-free drinks are terrible.
And I think
we sometimes apply different rules.
Yes, exactly. But I think what's interesting as well is I've heard you say that there are people who don't want in inverted commas replacement. They don't want something that looks like wine or looks like beer. But for those people, there are so many amazing alcohol-free drinks, but they're still grown-up drinks. So it's very different to just asking for a warm orange juice or a lemonade. You've got
Absolutely.
things like fiery ginger drinks, that don't look like a bottle of beer or a bottle of wine, but they're proper grown-up alcohol-free drinks. So you can have that in a nice glass, right?
Absolutely. They're drinks that are designed with adults in mind. So they've got adult flavours, like they will have bitterness. But more important, they have a very important element that I think is key to an adult alcohol-free drink, which is that they've got what I call speed humps in them. So things that stop you drinking too fast. Because you're not rehydrating like you are during the day. You're tasting drinks that you want to sip and drink at the same rate as those people that are drinking alcohol. So you're looking for drinks with a little bit of resistance. And so, yes, there are alcohol-free gins and rums and wines and all of those things, but there are also sparkling teas, and tea has tannins. And so, again, that slows you down from drinking too fast. Or even things like shrubs or oxymel, so things like vetiver and mother root. They're ancient ways of making drinks that have been around, thousands of years. But depending on the ingredients they put in them, they're designed more for an adult and they're lower in sugar. Equally, an alcohol-free beer is one of the healthiest things you can drink. And so that's definitely better for you than smashing back loads of sodas. Yeah,
absolutely. And then for people who are thinking, OK, well, I'm going to go to a festive gathering. I'm not drinking. I've made that decision that I'm not drinking. What are your tips for how you navigate that? Because it's all to do with the conversation, isn't it, really? And a lot of people are people pleasers because everyone else wants you to drink and you feel bad if you're not for them, which is crazy, really. But nevertheless, what would your tip be?
My tip would be just to stick to your guns and say it very confidently. If you go, I've decided not to drink today, because most people are moderating, then people will sneak in and go, go on, just have one. But stick to your guns, go, no, I'm not drinking today. Do bring your own, even if you're going to a restaurant. I always call in advance a restaurant, and if they don't have anything for me on the menu, I will tell them I'll be bringing my own. And the corkage I will pay will only be for soda, not for wine.
Yeah.
And so I do that. And then if you're going to a party or a family gathering in a home, take your own drinks, but also take extra, because I can guarantee you everybody will be so curious about your drinks. They will want to try, and you will end up with none.
Exactly. You told me that years ago, and I've always remembered it. Everybody wants the alcohol-free stuff that you've taken. It's so true.
Nice. Oh, I've never tried any. I'd like to try some. Well, what about that cheap plonk you've got over there? I can't drink that in return. So
absolutely.
Take extra.
Yeah, I love it. And I think, again, it's a really, really good tip that if you're, ring ahead if you're going to a venue and you want to know what they've got. I mean, in terms of dietary requirements, we're much better in the UK now, aren't we? If we're going to a function or we're rocking up somewhere, if we're vegan or we're gluten-free, we will make sure that we're catered for, and we always would be. It would seem bizarre if a venue wasn't catering for someone vegan and gluten-free. And it needs to be the same, doesn't it? If we're alcohol-free, we need to be given the same respect.
Let me give you an exciting bit of data. Only 7% of the UK is 100% vegetarian.
Right.
But they get a large proportion of the menu. 20% of the UK population are alcohol-free. So if you think about the proportion of the menu that you get if you're an adult not drinking, it's very different. And if you then say, well, actually, 85% of the population are moderating their drinking. So there'd be times they go into a pub and bar, like during the weekday lunchtime or in the evenings, where they're not drinking.
Yeah, or if they're driving.
So, and so you should really expect there to be a higher proportion of drinks.
So I think you're right. That's a really good shout for everyone, that they can ring ahead and see what the venue's got and really challenge your local pub or the restaurant that you go to. Challenge them to get some great alternatives in. I know that's something you've championed, haven't you, for years, is trying to encourage venues to come up to speed on all of this.
Yeah, so we work a lot with venues to give them advice, to encourage them to have more low and no, show how it is really important for their bottom line and for their business. But do mention it when you go in. You make it better for the person that goes in after you. Yeah,
totally. Tell us a little bit about Club Soda then, where people can find you. It is amazing that you've actually got a space where people can come in and choose an alcohol-free drink, but also sit at the bar and have a lovely mocktail.
I know, but we're only open to the end of January now.
Oh, wow,
Jamie,
okay.
Which you may well know because our lease is up.
Yeah.
But any time up to the end of the third week in January, come and see us in Drury Lane, which is just in Covent Garden. We always have at least 30 things open for you to try. So you just come in and try before you buy. But yes, you can also sit in the bar, have a drink. We make amazing cocktails, and you can take and fill your boots for Christmas.
Yeah, literally.
Exceptional drinks that you will not be able to find anywhere else.
Laura Willoughby, thank you so much. Have a great Christmas.
Thank you.
So thank you, Laura. I look forward to hopefully another Alcohol Free Life podcast live episode at Club Soda before the venue closes, and look forward to whatever the new chapter is going to be with Club Soda. And thanks also to Laura from the Unconscious Moderation app. Make sure that you join us, by the way, for our Setting Your Intentions for 26. It's a little webinar workshop that's going to be happening on Friday, the 2nd of Jan. It's a proper deep dive into what it is you want for the coming year. And I'm really looking forward to this because we do it most years, and it's a great way of letting go of what you don't need and really properly focusing on what you do. And lots of people say they keep these notes that they do on this workshop all through the year. So if you did it with us last year, dig out your notes. But do join us. There's a small fee for this one, but if you can't afford it, it doesn't matter. Just let me know. But it's Friday, 2nd of December at 4:00 in the afternoon. Special guest to be announced. But please do sign up for that. If you go to thesoberclub.com/events, you'll find the link there for the tickets. There'll also be another Explore a Career as a Sober Coach webinar. That is likely to be Wednesday, the 21st of January. So if that's of interest to you, make sure you sign up for that as well. If you know you're interested in this, drop me a message because we can have a chat. We do have a training that starts right at the very end of January. A few spaces left. Another one in April. And rather like with the Sober Club, if you contact me, if you get signed up, we can keep the 2025 prices for you because sadly, as with just about everything, prices are rising. Sure, I'm not the only one who said that to you recently. It's kind of the way everything is right now. So we haven't got long to go till Christmas. Next week, I am going to be on be on the BBC, on BBC 3CR and BBC Northampton every morning till Christmas Day. So if you're in that area, or if you want to listen on one of the radio apps, it'd be great to have your company from 10 till 2. That's 22nd to the 25th. I've got some fantastic guests lined up, of which Laura Willoughby is one, of course. And lots of other great wellbeing guests, as well as all kinds of other guests from music biz and media and all sorts of stuff. So I hope you can join me for that. If it is your first Christmas sober, or if you're just starting out on this journey, remember some of the basics. Do get connected. It's the thing that will really make a difference when you've got that layer of accountability. Obviously, I'd love it if you join us in the Sober Club, thesoberclub.com. Get in now at 2025 prices. If that's not your thing, or you just don't want to do that, that's okay. But tell someone. You can absolutely tell me. Drop me a message. I do offer one-to-one coaching, but even if you just want to drop me a message and say, hold the vision for me, Janie, I will do that. I will reply if I get the message. I promise you. Can't say fairer than that. So I'll see you in a week's time, and make sure you stay, calm, collected, and above all, stay alcohol free. It's the best thing you will ever do for your health and well-being. See you next time. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.